that space around how do we enter those spaces that we're trying to connect with respect. Right? And not a claim. I was always looking for people who were honest about who they were, right? And whatever it was they were struggling with. I rejected the assimilation in terms of just being like, because it was always this thing like something is not right, and
something is not right.
Tests and fill out bubbles. That's not what this thing is. Education is something where you can ask questions of your reality and then work with others to change the reality. It's really around how do we ask questions with respect? How do we enter spaces humbly, right? How is our humility present? Like the most important thing is for our humility to be present, right? So how we coming in these spaces, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm talking to young folks, the first thing I always say is there are more things that I don't do than what I do. The other thing I would see is it would seem like people would engage in quite a bit of pain. I was like, man, that shit looks painful, bro. Like in terms of like for no reason.
It was painful trying to understand how my white friends operate.
Right.
I'm sorry. Literally, they would play like Sweet Home Alabama and like AC/DC. I had no way of connecting to that because I didn't grow up. But like every time I play like R&B or rap or salsa or merengue, they would be like, "Why are we listening?"
Yeah.
And it just always felt like I never could be accepted. I always had to be them. Right. And like even to this day, I'm kind of bitter. I'm like,
Well, the thing is, I mean, we give thanks for these moments of freedom, right? So it's really around just being like, hey, look, shit, I went through that. I know what that is.
Yep.
I have promised to never do it again. Right. I promised to not do that again. Yep. So now, you find your folks. A lot of times the attempt is trying to claim something, right? But identity is saying, here's who I am, here's what I'm trying to do, and here are the people I'm connected to. Right. And that's always what we are saying, right?
To be fugitive, to perform fugitive pedagogy. How do you model that for them? And how can future educators model that?
I think the main thing is just, the main thing is just saying, like, we're clear about what doesn't work. Like that's probably the easiest thing. Like we can say, okay, that's not working, right? And what is working? And how do we determine working, right? Because working for white supremacy could just be regurgitating this thing, this kind of vomiting thing that we are asking folks to do. But saying, all right, how do we know that young people are grasping and being able to apply what it is that we're engaging in, right? And that's a different, it changes how you move, right? Because it's not just this kind of traditional lesson planning. Okay, here's the goals and objectives. Here, students will be able to. It's really saying, all right, what are we trying to do? And from that space, now we can figure out different directions, right? What concepts are we using to communicate that, right? And for me, it's always saying and being definitely honest, right? About just being like, okay, that didn't work, right? Here's what I will do to improve.
Dave, we heard you talk about fugitive pedagogy, and this is the perfect opportunity to connect fugitive pedagogy and critical race theory, especially for our younger generations, our young educators, you yourself, you're a high school teacher, how would you say to them this merge of fugitive pedagogy with critical race theory is? Where do they intersect? Because you also talked about Crenshaw.
So for me, there's a scholar by the name of Michael Dumas, and he talks about fugitivity means that you are not yet free, but you've made a decision to run. So now, where are you running? Who are you running with? What are you trying to do? So now, if you think about critical race theory, it's saying, look, if we understand that white supremacy is the foundational tenet of life in the United States, what are we willing to do to not just counteract that, but to build out strategies that always allows us to see it before we get distracted and victimized by it, right? So that thing around, so when you think about the fugitive pedagogy of critical race theory, is always saying, all right, what's here? What do we need to do? What do we need to take in? What can we use? What do we need to reject? What are we trying to build? And now, can tenets of something like CRT say, all right, if we're trying to do this work in this particular way, it allows us to rethink our approach to it, right? So I think that's the amalgamation, right? It's rethinking our approach and connecting it to other people who have made those same fugitive decisions, right? Right? That self-reflection now allows you to recuperate, right? So now how are we, because if you're constantly under attack, you gotta have a space to recuperate, right? You gotta have a space to, dare we say, heal, right? So
how do we become that space of healing for our students? How do we become that also for them?
We have to engage in some collective practices, right? So it's not, because a lot of times we can just do this thing where we separate ourselves from folks, right? And now, thinking about this attack, we're gonna need each other to affirm what it is that we're doing, to now figure out new strategies and takes on how to do it differently. So because we need each other, now we gotta make those spaces where we can be in community with each other. Right, I think that's really important. I mean, that's because that's a support mechanism, right? That's a support mechanism that keeps folks in. But I think we have to do that, right? And we have to be painfully intentional around what it means to be together, right? And that, what is our commitment to be together? A good friend of mine says that organizing is a commitment to be together. Thing. A lot of those folks who left will never return. So we're in a moment, right? And I don't say this thing to you all to get everybody panic stricken, but I say this to you all because we have to figure out what the fight will be. And it's gonna take some bravery, right? And we put a lot of burden on you all as emerging teachers without stepping up and figuring out how to support you. Think about this. We're in a moment where people are opposing something that they don't even know what the hell it is. My guy's got a statement for that. That is bizarro world. Right? That is literally everything being turned upside down. Right? You're arguing about something that you don't know what it is, and now you're fearful because it's not CRT as much as it is the historical record. Because people are mad that white kids get upset when they hear about things accurately. And that's the problem. And for me, I'm like, well, damn, y'all. Has anybody paid attention to the experiences of people of color in K-12 schools? About feeling uncomfortable, marginalized, isolated? And we were getting lied to. So damn, the truth is gonna make you feel bad. What are we gonna do? right? Because in schools, we get caught up in this. You get caught up in being nice. Not a moment to be nice. It's a moment to fight. You are in a fight. If you want to believe me or not. It's like, look, I get on a plane tonight back to Chicago, right? You don't have to believe me. But I'm gonna tell you this. You are in a situation where those folks are coming. It is not if, it is when. And you cannot be paranoid about this. Honestly, I don't want y'all to come out the school center like, Stovall said we all gonna die. It's terrible. Y'all running down Flamingo, Maryland. It's all bad. Don't do it. Right? The thing is, I want you to embrace it. If you embrace it, then you no longer fear it. Most of you ain't just looking like, come on, man. There's got to be a better way. there's nothing, there has to, I just believe that there has to be something different. I refuse to engage in this.